This happened last summer. I was 15. We were living in this old rental house just outside of town, like really old. The kind of place where the walls felt thin and the floors. They made noises even when you were standing still. Creaks, taps, weird little thuds. No wind, no reason. Just old bones settling, I guess. I mean, that's what we used to tell ourselves. Anyway, I had this hamster, Peanut. He was this tiny white ball of chaos, always moving, always chewing something. God, that little guy was relentless. I'd fall asleep to the sound of him running like he had somewhere to be. Every single night, like clockwork. But this one night, I woke up and it was just quiet. No squeaking, no rustling, just this hollow kind of silence. I reached for my phone. It was 2:17 a.m. I still remember that exact number. I just had this feeling like something was off, not in a dramatic horror movie way, just like something was wrong with the air. You know what I mean? I sat up, looked over, and the cage door was wide open. Peanut was gone. My God, I panicked. I started tearing the room apart. Under the bed, behind the dresser, through my laundry pile. I even dumped out my backpack and checked inside my shoes. I was talking to myself like, okay, he's tiny. He's got to be close. But nothing. Then I heard it. This light scratching sound. Faint, but it wasn't in the room. It was underneath it. I dropped to the floor and pressed my ear down, and I swear, I could hear something crawling inside the floor. Little movements. Fast. Almost like he was trapped down there. There's this one board near my closet that's always been a little off. It flexes when you step on it, and sometimes cold air seeps through the cracks. We just thought the house had crappy insulation. But in that moment, I don't know what came over me. I grabbed a screwdriver from my desk drawer and started pulling the damn thing up. After a minute or two, there was this tiny shuffling sound. And then Peanut crawled out. But he didn't look like Peanut. His white fur was coated in this black, powdery stuff, like soot. His paws were dark, like he'd walked through charcoal. His little nose was twitching like crazy, and he was shaking in my hand. Not just cold, like scared. He looked like he'd been through something. And I don't know why I did this. I really don't. But I kept going. I peeled back more of the boards one by one. And God, I still feel sick when I think about it. Under my room was another room. It didn't make sense. It wasn't on the blueprints. No lights. No drywall. Just this weird space, like a crawl space, but two, perfectly shaped. The walls were black, scorched. Everything smelled like smoke and rust. There was this half-burned table. A chair melted into the floor. Wallpaper, but it was like bubbled and peeled back like it had been burned off. And in the corner, I saw these bones, tiny ones, curled up, like someone had been hiding. Like they never made it out. I didn't scream at first. I just froze. I think. I think I actually forgot how to breathe for a second. Then I ran and got my dad. I was shaking so hard I could barely talk. We called the police. They came with people, dogs, equipment, the whole thing. And eventually, they told us there'd been a fire 25 years ago. A little boy lived in that house, and he went missing during the fire. The story was that he ran into the woods, that they never found him. But that wasn't true. He never ran. He was trapped down there, in that space, right under my room. They just rebuilt over it, covered it up, didn't even clear it out. Just laid down new floorboards, like nothing ever happened. The landlord never said a word. We moved out less than a week later. I still have Peanut. He's clean again, white, fluffy, back to his old hyper self. But sometimes I catch him staring at the floorboards, right at that same spot. And I can't stop thinking about it. Like, what did he see down there? What did he smell? What did he feel? Because I didn't tell him where to go. He knew. And if he hadn't gotten out that night, if I hadn't woken up, that kid, he'd still be down there, hidden, forgotten. And I'd be sleeping on top of him every night, not even knowing. I don't think I'll ever forget the first time it happened. That red balloon, just floating all on its own down the hallway. It was 2:47 a.m. Exactly. We'd only just moved into the house a few weeks before. It was me, my wife, and our daughter, Ellie. She was 5 at the time. The place was old, yeah, but not creepy. It had charm, creaky floors, drafty windows, that sort of thing. The kind of house that felt like it had a story, you know? Anyway, our neighbor across the street, this sweet, older woman, she came by one afternoon to drop off a welcome gift for Ellie. It was just a red balloon, helium, tied to this little weight with a smiley face on it. Ellie loved it. Harmless, or so I thought. That night, I'd fallen asleep on the couch. Just one of those accidental naps that turn into full-on sleeps. And then, right around 2:45, I woke up. I don't even know what stirred me, but I heard this sound like something dragging softly across the hardwood. I sat up and there it was, the balloon, just sort of drifting down the hallway. Slow, headed straight toward the basement door. I laughed at first, just one of those tired, nervous little laughs like, okay, weird. Maybe a vent kicked on or something. Airflow. But there weren't any vents there. And the house was dead quiet. Still, the next night, same thing. Same time. 2:47. Balloon. Basement. So the next day, we tied the thing to Ellie's dresser. Double knotted it. Even taped the ribbon down, like really taped it down. I wasn't taking chances, just to be safe. But that night, I came downstairs around 3 in the morning for some water, and there it was again, right in front of the basement door. Tape peeled clean off, ribbon loose and curled at the base. Just hovering. I didn't tell Ellie. I mean, she's 5. I didn't want to scare her over a balloon. But when my wife saw it, she didn't laugh. She just kind of stood there for a second, like something clicked in the back of her head. So we got a little more serious. Locked the balloon in the guest bedroom. Door shut. Chair wedged in front of it. We even stuffed a towel under the door, just to be sure no air could get through. Next morning, balloon's gone. Not in the guest room. It's back at the basement door. Same exact spot. Same time. That's when I really started to get freaked out. I checked everything. Every vent, every possible draft, cracks in the floorboards, anything that could move air. Nothing. No explanation. So I set up a camera in the hallway. Just an old baby monitor we had from when Ellie was little. Basic, but it worked. That night, I couldn't sleep. Just laid in bed, watching the feed on my phone. My heart was racing for no reason. I just knew it was going to happen. 2:46. Nothing. 2:47. The balloon lifts. Just a little. Then it starts to drift, slow, deliberate, right back toward the basement door. And this is the part that really messed with me. It didn't float. Not like it was light or being pushed. It moved, like someone was holding the string, guiding it. Except there was no one there. The next morning, I did something stupid. I opened the basement door. I don't know why. Curiosity, stubbornness. Maybe I just needed to prove it was nothing. It was dark down there, colder than usual. And the air, it didn't smell like dust or mildew. It smelled burnt, like something had caught fire once, a long time ago. I looked around. Nothing unusual at first. Tools, old boxes, paint cans, all the stuff you'd expect. But then in the far corner, behind the water heater, I noticed this panel in the wall, like a crawl space door, real low. I opened it. Inside, dozens of balloons. Old, deflated, shriveled up and dusty. Some of them still had strings, all different colors. Some with faded writing on them, names, dates. None of them were ours. We never bought those. And then I remembered something the neighbor said when she first gave Ellie the balloon. She smiled and said, "He want you to have this. You always like little girls." At the time, I just thought it was, I don't know, some weird old person phrasing. But standing there, looking at those balloons, that line hit me like a punch to the chest. I went over the next day, knocked on her door, asked her flat out, "Who's he?" She just smiled, didn't say a word, just slowly closed the door. We moved a few days later. No goodbye, no explanations. We didn't even pack the balloon, just left it there, like it never existed. The first night in our new apartment, we were still living out of boxes. Everything was chaos. Ellie ran to grab the food delivery, just opened the front door, and it was there, a balloon, red, no ribbon, no card, just hovering, like it had been waiting. I don't know who or what keeps sending them, but somehow they always find us, and they always come at the same time. 2:47. And now I can't help but think, maybe it was never about the balloon. Maybe it was about who it was meant for. Because sometimes the scariest things aren't ghosts. They're the people who never let go. I moved into that house in mid-October. It was, one of those old one-story places with way too much charm for how cheap it was. Real fixer-upper. Quiet neighborhood. No screaming kids next door. No one knocking on your door asking how you're holding up. And at the time, I thought that was exactly what I needed. My wife had passed away 4 months earlier, and yeah, everything in our old place just felt haunted. Not by ghosts or anything, just her. The way she folded towels. That one candle she always left burning. Even the hallway floorboard she'd always complain about. So I left. Just me and Cooper, my golden retriever. He's always been this calm, sweet dog. Barely ever barked. More the kind of guy to quietly nudge your hand until you pet him. Small laugh. Honestly, he was my anchor through everything. But this new house, something about it made him different. The first night wasn't much. He whined a bit near the closet in the bedroom. I figured it was just the new smells, maybe nerves, moving stress, right? But by the third night, he was standing in the bedroom doorway, just staring at the walk-in closet, not moving, not blinking, and growling, not barking. I mean, this low, steady growl like something deep in his chest. I got up, turned the closet light on, showed him it was empty. Just jackets, shoes, some boxes I hadn't unpacked yet. I even walked in, knocked on the walls, made a big show of it like, "Look, buddy, nothing spooky here." But he wouldn't follow me in. Just stood there, watching. And that became a thing. Every night, always the same. He'd do this slow pacing loop around the closet, like he was hunting something. And sometimes, I'd wake up at 2 or 3 a.m. and hear his claws lightly scratching the floor outside the door. Just that soft, repetitive sound. Over and over. I started leaving the closet light on. Didn't help. Then one morning, Tuesday, I remember because I had this early Zoom call for work. I'm in the closet lacing up my shoes, and I glance up at the back wall, and I see them. Scratches. Long, narrow gouges, way in the back, right below the attic access panel. Not old ones either. Fresh, like someone had dug into the drywall with their nails. I just froze. Like, who the hell had been in there? I hadn't touched the attic since moving in. That night, I couldn't sleep, not even a little. So I got the ladder out, opened the hatch, shined a flashlight around. Just insulation, boards, dust. Nothing obvious. But I couldn't shake it. The feeling in your gut like something's not right. So, I did what anyone paranoid and alone would do. I bought one of those cheap indoor security cameras. A little thing I could aim at the closet. Motion activated. Set it up. Told myself it was just to prove to myself there was nothing there. First night, nothing. Second, a couple clips of Cooper pacing again. Then the third night. God, 3:42 a.m. The footage starts normal. I'm asleep. Closet's closed. Cooper's not even in the frame. Then, the attic panel. It shifts. A hand comes out first. Human. Reaches down, pushes the panel open slowly like they'd done it before. Like they knew exactly how much noise they could get away with. And then this barefoot man just crawls down into the closet. Doesn't speak. Doesn't turn on a light. Just crouches there, inside the closet, listening. And after maybe 10 minutes, he steps out and stands at the foot of my bed, looking at me for 6 full minutes, not moving, not touching anything, just watching. Then he turns, climbs back up into the attic, and disappears. Like nothing happened. I didn't even realize I was crying until I tasted it. My hand was shaking so bad I could barely hit 911. Police came. Turns out, someone had been living in the attic. They found wrappers, bottles, a rolled up sleeping bag. The guy had gotten in weeks ago through this vent under the back crawl space, when I hadn't even noticed was broken. They called him a drifter. Said he'd been using homes like this as temporary spots to crash. Only, he knew my schedule. He knew when I was asleep, when I was alone, and Cooper. The whole time I thought he was just confused, grieving, maybe picking up on my stress. But no, he knew. He was trying to warn me every night. I I don't know what would have happened if I hadn't checked that footage. If I hadn't believed him. Sometimes we tell ourselves we're just being paranoid, that the shadows are just shadows. But if your dog starts barking at the closet, please just check. Because sometimes we're not alone, even when we want to be.